Okay, so last night my neighbor came over and helped me get those two bolts that were for that there. I still need to unscrew that, but I wanted to see what's really holding this wall up. I don't see any screws along the top or that side. Doesn't mean that they're not buried behind that plastic. I pulled the ones out here on this side and it's still in there pretty good. Now I can push from the inside and this moves, so I know this is unsecured, and there's a strip of screws that run along the bottom on the inside, but on the outside nothing, and on the inside nothing. It's hard to see behind that seat, but there's nothing back there either. So there is this group right here down here on the floor, but I don't know what's holding the rest of that in. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the ones out of the floor, and I think that white piece is continuous all the way through, and I think the same thing over there, so I'm not really sure what that's screwed into. I might need to go see if there's a video online seeing how to take this apart. I don't want to tear any of this up, because if I decide to put the wall back at some point, or even if I decide to move the wall back just past this doorway to make the back half separate from the front half, which was something I was considering, but I need to figure out how to get this down. But it even though I just have it sort of unbolted, it's still in there solid. So yep. And I do need to take this piece of plastic out, that way I can put this screw back through here. But yeah, I don't know, you know what, feels like there's a track right here as well, so I'll have to look in the corners. But yeah, that is the AC or for the back here. They kept saying it was a refrigerated unit. It's not. That's just hooked into the van AC, and I don't even know what the other thing does, because there's a knob on the dash that turns the fan on, but I don't know which fan. I haven't been back here when it was running. Alright, so we'll figure this out. Alright, so this box is screwed to the floor, and there's 1, 2 screws that are behind the box. I'm going to need to get an extension unless I want to take the box out. I started getting these out. I've got those 2 left and the 3 there. But I really don't know what's holding this in place. Now, I think this foam might just be wedged in here. At least it feels like it's wedged in there. Might be glued. Can't really tell. So it looks like that's cut. Okay. So this little piece does not go all the way through. It looks like it's cut. At least it's cut right here. Okay. There's no telling. Alright. Gotta get these last 5 out on this side, then I need to go find my long bit driver adapter so I can reach in there and get those other 2 screws out. Okay, so I took the 5 screws that go from the headliner in the front to this plastic sheet, took them out, and the plastic sheet, as you can see, slid forward, revealing a piece of lumber. So there's no screws on this side. So my guess is screws are on the back side. Now I've bumped this wall a few times with my hip. Now I know that this side here is undone, and I know everything but 2 screws over there is undone, and it still seems pretty solid. So we're gonna work our way back out into the inside and see what we have to take apart on the inside. All right, so it looks like we have there's 3 screws right here, plus this panel, this metal panel. It's got, looks like 5 screws, or 4 screws. So we'll definitely need to drop that. May have to drop that whole ceiling panel down, I don't know. Hope not. Probably will though. So I guess the next thing will be to... God, there's so much stuff you have to take apart just to put it back together. I guess I should go ahead and finish. Oh, that's a Torx. I don't have one with me, so I'll have to get one. So yeah, I guess it did move a little bit because there was a gap here, and now this metal that I was going to fix is holding this. Sometimes I just think maybe a Sawzall would solve all my problems. Alright, I still got to figure out where the bolts and how many there are to get the rest of this out of here. Alright, so I'm going to take out that steel panel right there. There's only, I think, 4 or 5 screws. I'm going to unbolt all of those things. And once I get that steel panel out, I'm also going to pull the 3 screws there and then get me a razor blade and cut the caulking that they have between the top and the panel. Same thing over there. Hopefully if I get this panel in this corner down, I can see how this wall is attached to the top of the van. Now the next panel I'm going to have to remove most likely is going to be that one, and it goes all the way back to about 12 inches is where that stops. So right about, let's see, right there is a joint, but it's one continuous piece other than that. So that's why I want to take this one out first. And that will also tell me what the hell's behind this light. Is it wired or not? Because again, I flipped that switch last night and these 2 lights didn't come on. Actually, none of these 3 lights came on. So I haven't looked at the handbook to see if there's a fuse for this, or if, who knows. I mean, it looks, there's wire there, but I don't know if that's to the tail light. There's wire on this side too. Okay, so let's get these screws out of here. Okay, so I got the 3 bolts out of there. It was kind of a challenge with this being dented, so I'm gonna have to get a hammer and refix all that. I haven't been able to reach those 3. I need to go find my screwdriver extender thing so I can get around all this. But I took the front of this upper one off because I don't see any mounting hardware on the outside. And what I'm seeing is this upper one is a heater. So I don't know where this. So again, the people that I got the van from, they kept insisting this was a refrigeration unit. It's not. This is connected to the AC. Those are AC lines. They go down through the floor, and I crawled underneath this, and they go up to the engine compartment, and there was already some hoses, I thought. So this has got refrigeration and a heater, which is really nice that this little electric heater is back here. But it clearly is connected to something because it doesn't power on. So maybe I'm not sure what these I'm thinking it's just this one little black screw, because this one looks like it's got a cutout around it, maybe. I don't know. It looks like there's a couple of boxes here. We've got the box, this main cover, then an inner sleeve, and then the outer housing. So we'll have to figure out how to take all that down and move it. Yeah, interesting. But that's kind of nice, because then I can, when this wall's gone and I figure out how everything's going to sit, I can probably mount this either to the side wall or put in a bracket just behind the driver's seat, and this way pretty much the AC and the heat would blow directly onto Heather. That'd be good. That way she stays nice and comfortable, because I'm not going to be able to move the AC too much farther than where it is, because the lines are pretty tight. So this box isn't going to be able to go much farther than here. Maybe I can scoot it over a little bit, and this way Heather's feet won't bang into it. Maybe do the same thing with this one. All right, I'm gonna take those two screws out and see what comes apart. Then I'm gonna go get the key to the van and see what it does when I turn it on. Okay, so the first thing, I plugged in the socket that's on the back side of the driver's. It has a plug for the electricity. Now, there's no switch on this bottom one, but I do know there's a switch on the dash, so I'm pretty sure that this is controlled by that. I put the knob back on. Okay, that didn't turn on before. So the fan works. Oh, yeah, that's getting warm. Cool. Hasn't been running in a while. Alright, so yeah, there's some definite heat. Okay, so it feels like it's only a one position fan. Okay, so definitely runs by electricity when it's plugged in. So I just turned it off. I'm going to go unplug it and then start the van and see what happens. I don't know if you can hear it, but I just started the van up. So no power to this whatsoever. Okay, so this is only connected to the 12 or the 120 from the house, not the 12 volt system. Okay, that's good to know. And this, we're going to go inside and flip the switch on the dash and see if this is hot air or cold air. I'm pretty sure this is cold air, because I'm pretty sure this is wired into the AC. Well, let's go check. Okay, I assume you can hear that humming, so it's running, that fan's running. I turn that on, the dash switch. So the question is, what is this really? So with the van on, the bottom one is running, the top one is not running. It seems to only work at 12 volt. But the more I look at this setup, I don't think this is AC, because all of this shit is hooked to this water pump. And I can't tell that I can't tell if that's running or not. So let's go inside and So maybe this doesn't have AC to the rear. Maybe it's only heat. So I've got this running. Regretfully, I got the cheap one, so there's not a whole lot of information going on there. So I got to crawl up there and check the heater controls and see if the heat's on. All right, so I have this on the hottest setting. Trying to see if I got any hot air yet. No. I haven't familiarized myself with all these little symbols I can't really see, so let's see. I guess I need to turn this vent back on. There we go. It doesn't have any, not having any hot air yet. Okay, let's turn it off for a second. Oops. I didn't notice that was broke. Gonna need to hunt down a vent at some point and see about swapping that out. It doesn't feel off, it feels broken. Yeah. Alright, so we got our first casualty. We got a broken vent. So yeah, I've got this cranked to the hottest position, 84. Okay, we're starting to get a little warm air out of that. Alright, so we're going to let this warm up for a few minutes, and then we'll go inside and check and see what that's doing. And then once we do that, I'm going to shut this off, plug the van back in, and then turn this knob down here, because that's the one that controls that bottom blower. If we plug the van in and that turns that blower motor on, then there must be an inverter someplace, but I don't think there is, or they wouldn't have put 2 units. And why, I don't know, why didn't they just hook the upper one into the electrical system so that with an inverter, so they could plug it in or run it off the van and only have one system? Kind of seems weird. So whatever medical equipment that was stored back there had to be at a certain temperature, or they wouldn't have had a heater. Okay, so we have a little bit of warm air, not much. Alright, I'll be back once everything warms up. Alright, so I'm gonna talk a little louder over this thing. So sucking air through here, and we have warm air coming out here. So this only works when the van's running and there is warm coolant running through it, and this is an electric heater. These are heaters, not air conditioning. So that's that. So technically this is just like what we have in the bus, our bus right now. We have one of these in the very back that's under on the floor, and it's rear heating. It's about the same size too, so it's kind of strange. So we could technically remove this from here and put it in the back, and then just run new hoses. That could be something we do, and then that way we'll have heat in the back when we're traveling, and we can put this one someplace else. Alright, so that's good to know. Alright, so the light was plugged in and the bulb looked good. Straightforward, it just slid right out, so nothing fancy. I tried reaching up in that gap there to see what's holding the bulkhead in, and I don't really feel anything that I can reach from here. So I'm definitely going to have to remove these screws and get rid of that silicone so I can pull that down a little bit. I got to be careful though, because that is plastic is screwed to a piece of thin wood. And regretfully, I may end up having to pull the whole top down to get this wall out. That may be what happens. So at that point, we're gonna have to clean all of this shit out of here to have room. I gotta go turn that fan off. It's driving me nuts. Okay, so I shut the van off. I plugged the 120 volt back in with the switch on for the lower one, and it does nothing. So that is connected straight to that switch on the dash, and it is using the dash coolant as its heating supply. So just like our bus. So if I want to keep that one, I can pull the lines and then get some new rubber hoses and run it wherever I want it. Or I can disconnect all this shit and put it back to factory under the dash or the hood and not worry about it. So like I said, the next thing I want to do is pull those 3 screws, cut that silicone so I can pull the front edge down a little bit and see what I can get as far as this bulkhead. But I'm having a feeling that I'm going to need to take that panel down, possibly the roof, and the 2 panels, because I thought this was one continuous panel, but right at the edge of that bracket right there, it's split. You can see the line right there. So top half, bottom half. So probably had to. So I was gonna have to pull the upper one anyway. Eventually, I'm gonna put a window in there. Regretfully, they're out of stock, so I'm waiting. So, and between the weather and me just feeling run down, I haven't really got a lot done. Not as much as I had planned. The rails did come in for the wheelchair mount to the floor. So I do want to get this done, because at least if the mounts were in the floor, Heather could still use the back ramp. We could have her turn around and bolt her to the floor, so it wouldn't be a problem. So I need to come up with a place for all of this stuff. Fuck, throw those tires. So I'm half tempted just to take these metal pieces to the scrapyard and get paid for them. I don't think they're worth anything, but I'll get them out. I'll take some pictures of them, get some measurements. Maybe somebody will have a use for them. I don't know. Maybe I can get a couple $100 for them. Other than that, all right. So yeah, I've been just slowly pulling the screws out of everything, trying to make sure that kind of half tempted. If I was really ambitious, well, I was going to say I could put nut zerts in, but the ones here in the top go straight into the plywood. So I don't know. All right, that's all for today. And I just noticed the tires. So there's the valve stem, and if you know anything about tires, there's some dots on the tires, and those dots mean something. Every wheel is similar. This is the passenger's rear wheel. That's the driver's. Let's see, there's the valve stem. Dot, dot. If you know about tires, you know what I'm pointing at. Driver's front. There's the valve stem. There's a dot. There's a dot. Driver's rear. There's the dot. There's the dot. There's a shitload of weight. All right. Another reason not to take your vehicle to America's Tire Store. Just saying, that's why they put the dots there.